Good morning, everyone. Today I have just a few projects that I want to get done. One of them being, is my audio okay? Testing, 1, 2, 3. It looks like we're okay. All right. So yeah, I have a few moss pull projects that I want to get done today. I do have 5 plants that I'm going to be placing on these plastic thickly moss pulls. So if you guys have any questions throughout the stream, just fire them off. Also, just let me know where you're viewing this from today. I always like watching or seeing where you guys are viewing from. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is running okay. Looks like the chat, everything is going good. I wanted to show this plant because it's in the thumbnail, and I just wanted to show just how kind of, I don't want to say dramatic, but how much of a change this plant has gone through since being on this moss pole. So I'm just going to try and keep up. So Patty says, hi from California. So this is the Philodendron mexicanum, or maximum, sorry. And when I bought it, it had these small little leaves like this. And it also had a fairly thin stem. And as it's grown up this moss pole, I don't think I've had it for very long, under a year. The leaves went from this size to this large beast right here. So this is a beautiful variety of philodendron. And then you can see up here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the stem went from kind of long, stretched out internodes to one big, kind of beefy, thick internode or stem with very tight internodes there. So it's thickened up, and obviously the leaves have grown a ton. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, is just moss poles in general. I do have 5 plants. I have a little list here, but the Jerry Horn, the Mexicanum, that was my wish list plant that I got from North Shore Tropicals. I have to add an extension piece, so a second moss pole to my Cebu Blue. And then the variegated philodendron Burl Marks, that's another one. And then an extension piece onto my philodendron Glorious. So I don't know if I'll have time for all of these, but definitely I'll try and get through as much as I can. Lisa says, hi from Nipawin, Saskatchewan. Beautiful country up there. From Washington, D.C. So happy to hear after the tech issues yesterday. Yesterday was a disaster. So whenever I do my live streams, I will hook up my camera to the computer, and normally it'll project the live stream on my monitor over there. But for some reason, it wouldn't display it. It was a black screen. I did start the live streams and then I had to end them, but I don't know what it was. It just randomly started working yesterday afternoon. So today is actually a better day just because yesterday I had a bunch of random Amazon packages coming to my house. So I don't want to say like every 15 minutes, but it felt like every 15 minutes the doorbell was ringing and then the dogs would be barking. So yeah, welcome to the live stream this morning, everyone. If you're just joining, this is the Philodendron maximum. Beautiful, beautiful plant. I'll get to some other ones here as well. Good morning from Indiana, from sunny Sweden. Good morning. Or I guess, I don't know, it's probably not morning there. Ontario, Costa Rica, Edson, Alberta, Newmarket. I'm guessing that's Ontario. West Virginia, Denmark, and the mountains from Colorado. Wow. That's the one thing that I absolutely love about these live streams is knowing where everyone is viewing from, because it's quite literally around the world. So we got some Sweden and Denmark, all that. Yeah, I love it. I've put out some posts on my YouTube community page in the past asking where people are from, and it's shocking that people watch my videos. Just a guy from the Canadian prairies, probably the least, I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. Like, we're not known for tropical plants here, so it's funny that people from tropical countries or from around the world watch my videos asking for tropical plant advice. So Philippines, Arizona, Scotland, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thank you for Italy. Wow. So yeah, thank you for joining in today. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to basically talk about some of the benefits of moss pools, some of the downsides, I guess. We'll probably get sidetracked as I typically do, so I might forget to talk about that kind of stuff. I do have a couple moss pools with just like an aeroid mix, so I will show a couple of those here briefly as well. And then I guess we'll talk a little bit about the differences between the moss pole and the plank, which I've been growing plants on planks for a little while now. So Turkey, wow, Germany, St. Louis, Missouri. So thanks for joining in today. So I'm glad to see it's working today. Yeah, I was so stressed about the live stream yesterday. I think I spent like probably 2.5 hours just trying to troubleshoot, and I literally unhooked every cord from behind my computer. I tested out the camera and my little video card. So I'm happy it is working today as well, just because I have these 5 plants that I've been wanting to get onto a moss pole for quite a while, but I just haven't had time for a live stream. So that is today. So beautiful, beautiful plant. Look at the size of these leaves. It's supposed to get like massive. These get massive leaves. So if you want to go Google the philodendron maximum, you can just see how large these leaves get, which is pretty crazy. So the first, I didn't leave. The first plant that I want to get to, and like I said, I have 5 plants today, so I want to try and get through these not as quick as I can, but I'm going to try and keep up on the chat here because I have a tendency to lose track of it. I like your shirt. Thank you. It is from Tropics Narcotics. They have a whole line of these types of shirts, and yeah, they're awesome. There's honestly some of my favorite shirts. And I definitely want to order a couple more. They have a really cool philodendron one. So yeah, that's a beauty. I'm assuming you're referring to the maximum. So this is the philodendron mexicanum. This was a wish list plant of mine for a while. I'm into these philodendrons that have really long leaves, and yeah, and they get larger as they grow up a moss pole. Yesterday, I moved this massive, look at this leaf, look at this last leaf. So I took my Monstera over to the shower yesterday just to spray off with some of that Pure Crop one. It's like an insecticide type thing. And as I was bringing it back, this, like one of these big leaves knocked over my philodendron Spiritus Sancti. So if you guys saw my tissue culture video, I bought this from Parkfolia. They are a tissue culture company, and she also has videos on YouTube. I bought this as a little tissue culture plant, I want to say probably about a year ago. And I do have a video of deflasking it, so going through the process of taking it out of its tissue culture gel. And I potted it up, and it's done really well, with the exception of having the occasional thrip or two on it. So something like this leaf right here has a little bit of damage, but here is the newest leaf. Will these same techniques apply to other types of plants like Monstera? Yeah. Moss poles, like I don't think a Monstera necessarily needs a moss pole, but I guess they do just fairly well on a support stake. I'll kind of talk about that in a little bit here. It's basically, I've never grown a Monstera on a moss pole, but I know the aerial roots get pretty large. So you'll probably need like a fairly large moss pole to accommodate those roots. But yeah, I've just had really good success with just on a wood support stake. Malaysia, good morning. So yeah, here is the newest leaf. This thing is beautiful. And I can't believe how much it's sized up, because here is one of the original leaves. I don't know if you can see it or not. Just a super tiny little leaf. And each leaf gets larger and larger. So there is another one coming in right there, but this has to be like, I don't know, a foot long already, but beautiful. So I'm into these very long leafed philodendrons. So yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but this one fell on the floor. So the monstera leaf caught on this, knocked it on the floor, smashed the pot. So I did a quick repot last night. There was, yeah, pieces of terracotta everywhere. Okay. Do you have the philodendron? I don't know how to say that. Tenu? I do have it actually. And that was one I was going to add to the list, but I decided against that today. But I will show you. And here it is. So for whatever reason, these leaves are facing this way, and then this one just wanted to be a little difficult and face the wrong way. But this is another beautiful variety. I haven't had this one for very long. It's on a smaller moss pole, but yeah, that is, again, I don't know how to pronounce it. Tenu. Good morning from Thunder Bay. Another person from Germany. So welcome to the live stream. I should have shown those roots on the maximum, just because, you know what? Where did I put it? The roots are crazy. Okay, before I get to the Mexicanum, I'm going to show the roots. Look at these roots. That's awesome. And this one goes right up almost to the top. I do have one plant that does have roots all the way to the top. Can't remember which one it is though. So that is the benefit, or one of the benefits of having a plant on a moss pole, is basically it's an extension of the growing medium, so the soil. So you'll have roots growing in the moss, and they will obtain moisture and nutrients from the moss. Whereas if you grow a plant on a plank, like I have a few of them now, I'm kind of transitioning to those D-shaped moss poles. But whenever you have a plant growing up a plank, there's a couple downsides, I guess. One of them is the aerial roots on a plank is strictly for support, but if you have a plant on a moss pole, like I said, that's basically an extension of the growing medium. So the aerial roots in a moss pole will get moisture and nutrients, whereas if it's just on a plank, it's strictly for support. And the other thing is when you have a plant, like, I'll use this one again. When you have it on, or an extension piece on top, the plant grows up the moss pole, and once it starts to root into the top plank, or you can add however many extension pieces you want, but it makes it really easy to chop and prop. So you can take the top cutting and remove it. It will have a sufficient root system to maintain on its own, I guess. So you can take that top cut, put it in a pot, like a separate pot, and then you can have two separate plants, and that just continues the leaf size up process. So as it continues to grow, you just keep taking the top off if you have like a few extension pieces on there. And one great example is, I'm going to kind of get out of the way, but this is my Philodendron Splendid. I think it's on its maybe third or fourth pole. So it basically reaches the top here, but look at how large these leaves are. This one, if you are just getting into houseplants and you want those big, beautiful leaves, the Splendid is definitely one to get, because it's given me like no issues at all. Thanks for showing. No problem. How do you like using Pure Crop? Good so far. So the thing I like about Pure Crop 1 is it's organic, and it treats basically sap sucking insects. It's fairly expensive. It comes in a small bottle, and I think it's like $75. But I can't remember the exact amount but basically you take a very small amount, dilute it in like a 4-liter jug, or no, in a little misting bottle. And I'm still on the original bottle, and I think I have like maybe a third left. So it's definitely lasted a long time. Sometimes I'll take like all these plants on the shelf here. I'll do like little groups. I'll take them over to the shower and just kind of spot treatment them, just as a preventative measure. But so far, I really like it. It doesn't smell horrible, which that can be the case with some other products. But overall, I like that product. Where do you order your D-shaped plastic moss poles in Canada? I actually get them on Amazon. So if you, I don't know if it'll be, I think it's in the description of this video. So once the video is done, I do have Amazon Canada and US links, and I do have those products, the thickly grow poles, I buy off Amazon. How dense should the moss in the moss pole be? So I'll kind of go over that as well. I'm already just blabbing here for the last 15 minutes, but I'm going to be assembling these moss poles as well. And these ones are the thickly moss poles. I know there's different varieties out there. I know North Shore Tropicals has some different, a different brand, which they do well. Like it's just a D-shaped plastic moss pole. So I like these thickly ones. So and it's just easy because it's on Amazon. I don't know how you guys feel about Amazon or not, but it's pretty easy. Just order it and it shows up at your house. So yeah, I will assemble some of these moss poles. I have a container of moss, which I have already kind of pre-soaked. So everything should be ready to go for this video. So aside from using sphagnum moss, what other options could be used effectively? I do use, or I have 2 on moss poles that are just in like an aeroid mix. This is the Paricio Verde. It's getting a new leaf. That looks pretty sweet. So yeah, this one is just in straight soil or dirt. You can see the roots are growing in at the bottom. But so far, I found that, I don't know if it's because the soil dries out faster, but the moss pole roots, they're more substantial. There's more roots. So this one hasn't been on the pole for very long, but you can use an aeroid mix. And I'm going to show I have another little splendid on a moss pole. I feel like I'm going to drop a plant by the end of the video. It is in an aeroid mix. So here's my other splendid, and it's sizing up nice. So yeah, I'm going to flip this around. Not a huge root system on the back, but you can see it's definitely sizing up for sure. So this is a cutting from the one back there. So it's still getting beautiful leaves. This is honestly one of my favorite philodendrons. Like beautiful, beautiful leaf. The yeah, I can't remember which this is a cross of. The Varicosum and Melanochrysum, I believe. And then it has like the nice little bit of a red backing there. Amazon equals convenience. Yep. Okay, that one was like absolutely bone dry. Okay, now I gotta get to it here. Otherwise, I'm gonna get nothing else done today. I don't know where my little utility knife is, but I'm just using my little root rake just to pull this one out of the pot. I do have a couple terracotta pots ready to go here as well. Ooh, this one's dry. The mix is okay, so I'm not gonna like disturb the roots too much. I'm just going to kind of pick away at the back here a little bit, just so I can butt the moss pole up to the back side of the plant here. Have I tried moss poles with Hoyas? No. Honestly, I've just been kind of into these philodendrons lately. I neglect my Hoyas. I have a few upstairs in natural light, and they're all flowering right now. I have just a regular carnosa, and the carnosa and the australis, like the australis, just the green variety, and the australis lisa, they they well, they bloom, or they're in bloom right now, but they're very, very fragrant at night. Like you can smell their scent kind of throughout the house. It's yeah, it's very pleasant. So, but very strong. Those two varieties have very strong smells for flowers. What's your humidity and temps? So I am in Saskatchewan, and we're not known for our high humidity. It does get quite warm in the summer, but extremely cold in the winter. Right now, I don't have my humidifier or anything right now on, but I don't know if you can see it. It's 57% humidity and 22 degrees. Are you asking how flowering? Are you asking how my Hoyas are flowering? They flower all the time. Once you chop the top, like you said, you did. The roots will grow down in the pot. Yeah, they will search out moisture. So, okay, so I'm just isolating the roots at the back. So just because all the leaves are facing this way, I'm going to put the moss pole at the back. So I'm just removing a little bit of the soil at the back. That's all I want to do. Remind me here in a second, just because I want to grab a moss pole as well as my moss. Remind me about how to get Hoyas to flower. For the most part, like all of my Hoyas, their scent is very, very nice. Okay, so I have a couple packs of these thickly moss poles. This is how they are packaged. So it just comes in a pack like this, and I think you get 5. I think there's 5 in a pack, if I'm not mistaken. So I have 2 left with this pack. So I'm just going to set these aside for now. So it comes in this like plastic sheet. It does have kind of creased lines on the sides. So that's how I assemble it. You'll have to fold it up. And I always kind of get confused as to like which is the inside and which is the outside. They do have their name. I don't know if you can see it right there, kind of stenciled in. So that's how I know that that is facing outwards. So just because it's like that. Right there, there's a name. So with these, you just fold along the line. The reason why I like these ones is because it's super simple to put together. I did those DIY moss poles, like the round ones with like the chicken wire, and disaster. I hated assembling it. This literally takes 15 seconds. And with the D-shaped moss poles, just because typically it's fairly dry here where I am in Canada, they would dry out super, super fast. Whereas these ones, they will hold their moisture for a few days for sure. I just bought a fiddle leaf fig and it dropped all its lower leaves after we purchasing it, but it's still some. What can I do to bring them back? Welcome to the world of owning a fiddle leaf fig. Basically, just put it in a nice, bright, sunny spot and don't even look at it. Anytime you pay any attention to it, it'll drop its leaves. So they're notorious for going into shock when you bring it home from a greenhouse, anything like that. And yeah, it'll drop its leaves. So just be consistent with it. Water it when the soil is absolutely bone dry. They like a lot of light. and it should recover. If you don't have any leaves like lower in the stem, I would say give it a year, let it grow, let it produce some leaves, and then you can prune it back. When you prune the top of the fiddle leaf fig off, it'll activate nodes lower in the stem. So sometimes you'll get branching at the top, but you can also get branching and new stem, or not stems, but branching development from lower in the plant. So they're beautiful, beautiful plants, but they're a little bit fussy. So here is my big bin of moss. And now back to that question of how dense do you pack it? I just kind of like fluff it up. And then I'm just looking at, there is a top and the bottom. So the nice thing about these thickly poles, which I'll show here in a second, once you assemble them, they have these little tabs at the bottom where you can either fold it inwards or outwards. So when you fold it inwards, it actually acts as like a little barrier. So all of your moss, or whether you're using aeroid mix or just soil, it prevents it from falling out the bottom, which is an awesome feature. Or if you place it outwards, then it acts as an anchor. So all I do is it's like loading up a burrito with like lettuce or something like that. So I just lightly place the moss in the pole like that, making sure it's kind of evenly distributed, and then you fold it up like a burrito. I can add a little bit at the top if needed, and if you feel like it's not dense enough, then you can always add more. So you can add it from the top, and then I just like to use a pencil or whatever and just kind of poke it down. But when you place it just basically at like the top, I don't know if you can tell, but it's just kind of at the top there. That's usually a good amount of moss in there. So back to the Hoyas. So when I first started collecting Hoyas, and I'm not an expert by any means, but basically what I did is I did a little bit of research on how to get them to flower. And basically you just stress them out. And so that sounds horrible, but it works. So anytime that a plant basically thinks it's going to die, it tries to push out flowers and I guess potentially reproduce seeds and all that kind of stuff. So what I do is I don't get them to the point where they're going to die, but I give them a lot of light. So I put them in a bright sunny area, or you give them a grow light. So give them lots of light, kind of maximize that energy that the plant is producing. And then the stressing out part is basically letting it get a little bit drier than you normally would. So if I don't recommend there being like a very strict watering routine, like water every 7 days kind of thing. But if on average you water them like maybe once every 7 to 10 days, maybe just extend it, let them get a little bit drier for maybe like an extra day or two. So just, make sure I basically basically get mine to be like bone dry, if that makes sense. And then give them a good soaking. So that's really all I do, is give them lots of light and let them get bone dry, just stress them out. And then, they all just kind of flower. Okay, so here is my assembled moss pole. Pretty much. So just, let them dry out and make them or trick them into think that they're going to die. Okay, so now I have my moss pole and my plant. I'm just going to put the moss off to the side here just so I don't get dirt in it. Now I did get some little plant Velcro. And first, what I like to do is just to make sure that I have the appropriate size pot, is just to size it up in the pot. And I like to put the moss pole right in the pot at the very bottom. And so I'm just sizing up where the plant will be placed. So something like that You can see all the roots down there. Now, before I put any soil in, I like to just hold the plant up against the moss pole, and you want to get those little aerial roots kind of in contact with the moss. So this is the height that I want it at. Now I take, come on, don't, yep, just stay. I take some of this plant Velcro, and then I Velcro it onto the moss pole. So something like, I want it nice and straight. I don't ever put it around the leaf, so making sure that the petiole is free. So something like that. The nice thing about doing this as well is I can hold the moss pole as well as the plant while I'm repotting it or potting it up, and that way I don't have to worry about juggling with the plant falling over. So that is what it looks like, and I'm going to get my soil here as well. Trick them like you don't care so they can give it. So now I'm going to get my soil. I'm down to my last bag of the aeroid mix, Molly's aeroid mix. Do you guys have any plants like on moss poles? What's your preference to growing plants? Do you like vining plants? Do you like climbing? I know there's varieties of crawling philodendrons, which I'll show my summer glory here in a second, but everyone kind of has their own specific types of plants or genus of plants that they like collecting. What's your guys's? Mine kind of goes in cycles, I guess. I've always loved philodendrons, but oops, I forgot to add. I forgot to show the bottom here, which I'll be adding a little bit of soil. So at the bottom, you can see left a little gap, and you can place these little, you can't see it really on the video, but the little plastic tabs are facing inwards, so it's preventing the moss from falling out. Now what I like to do, I'm just gonna actually use some of this old soil, and I'm just going to kind of tip the plant upside down, and I'm just going to stuff some soil in the bottom like that. And now I'm going to add some soil in. So there's some soil in the bottom of the moss pole. I'm just making sure that, because I have my little chat screen over here, I just want to make sure that I'm seeing the same thing as what's on my computer, which is way over there. So yeah, back to that question. What type of plants are you guys into? Are you growing plants on planks, moss poles? What's your preferred method of growing plants right now? Or do you just collect everything? And now I'm just adding soil just in the top. That's someone from New Jersey. H. Wilson says, I'm lazy, so I just use a trellis. That's good. As long as they have like a support stake, I guess. One thing that I've noticed about philodendrons specifically is they do not latch on to a wood plank. I've tried in the past. I just can't get those roots to grow onto the plank or adhere to it, attach to it like you would have with a pothos or something like that. Those plants just, yeah, they will attach like crazy and grow big roots. But I've never been able to get a philodendron to attach on a wood plank. They do really, really well on moss poles. When I first started collecting houseplants, I didn't like moss poles for a couple of reasons, just for the maintenance of it. Like you don't want to let the moss I let mine get dry out, but you don't want it to get too dry for too long. Otherwise, just like soil roots, they're going to shrivel up and die off. But the one thing that I didn't like about moss poles is the cost. So it can get quite pricey buying the support system, the moss, and just everything that you need for the plant. And it can get quite expensive when you have a bunch of plants like I do. I just kind of gave up and I just buy these moss poles when I need them. But that's kind of the downside. Whereas if I if I grow a plant on a plank, you can just basically find like any scrap piece of wood. The downside with growing a plank or a plant on a plank is the plant relies heavily on the roots in the soil and not like on the plank where, like I said, it's just basically a support system. You continuously have to upsize that pot just so the plant can sustain those larger leaves as it grows up the plank. So you need more room for a plant on a plank with a larger pot. Do you have a marble queen on a pole or plank? I did start my marble queen on a plank. I have two of them. I've transitioned one. I've transitioned one to a moss pole, and I just had to look over there. I'm trialing a kind of like a modified plank system. So at the top of the first plank, I cut out a little window. And then at the bottom side of the second plank, I cut out a little window, and I stuffed moss in there. So as the plant grows up the plank, it's going to reach this little moss window. And then hopefully the roots will grow into the moss, and then I can chop the top off, that kind of thing. I do have another one. So here's my moss pole marble queen. This one's starting to size up again, and I noticed a little bit of damage on the leaves, so I'm assuming that I have a little thrip on there, but it's getting a new leaf. I want to show another pothos here as well. Here's my Hawaiian pothos. This one was on a plank before, and now it's growing on a moss pole. Look at the size of these leaves. I can't wait until they start to fenestrate. And look at the roots on the back of this one. Just chunky. So, and the stem is super, super thick. So this is one of my favorites in regards to pothos plants. Bit difficult to regulate the watering if the pole is dry. So that's why I like these D-shaped moss poles, because it definitely retains moisture for longer compared to those DIY round ones with the chicken wire. Those things dried out like within a few hours. So not ideal for my type of conditions. I have roughly 30 poles. Yeah, so that's my goal with all of my houseplants. And the reason why I'm growing them on moss poles is because I want them to grow up basically the wall here and getting as large of a leaf as I can, trying to replicate or see if I can get a mature leaf like it would in its natural habitat. So with ideal humidity and light and all that kind of stuff. David says these leaves are gorgeous. Yeah, this one, I absolutely love it. How do you water the moss pole? There's different techniques out there. I know people do different things, but one method that I've seen quite often is people will fill up like a little water bottle and then just stick it on the top. You can have like a lid with like a hole or a couple holes poked in it, so it's a slow drip. I don't have time for that. I basically take mine over to my shower, and I do have a garden hose downstairs here. So I will water from the top. I will basically stick the hose right in the top of the moss pole here. Let it slowly trickle down the moss, making sure that it gets saturated front to back. And that's why I like these ones as well, is because it's a clear moss pole. So you can see which area of the moss is still dry. So that's a nice feature of these ones. Some of them have like a frosted backing as well, or like a frosted pole. Those ones are a little bit more difficult to know if they need water or not. But I basically just spray off the front of the leaf. I spray off the backside. I stick the hose in the top, and then I will have a separate canister, like a large spray bottle with a fertilizer water mixture. And that's how I do it. It's just, it literally takes me like 2-3 minutes per plant kind of thing. Whereas I don't have time to fill up, well, I have lots of plants, so I don't have time to fill up like, a dozen bottles, put a fertilizer in there, and then just kind of tip them up. So that's very time consuming. Owning houseplants is time consuming in general, but that method, it doesn't work for me. I've tried it and I just don't like that method. So I like to take them over to the shower and spray off the leaves, making sure that they are clean. And that's a good way to manage pests as well, because I'm always dealing with like spider mites and thrips down here. But the key is just keeping up on cleaning the leaves and that sort of thing. Hopefully that answers your question. Various kinds, chicken wire, coated with moss poles or perlite, the D-shape from Rousseau. I haven't tried the Rousseau moss poles. I absolutely love his plant stands. I want to try one of those someday. Scindapsus trubii dark form. So make a video. So I actually did have that plant before. Scindapsus, they're beautiful, beautiful plants, but that one in particular, I struggled with the dark form, as well as, what's the other common one that was just like people were crazy about, just the Scindapsus trubii. Those ones I could not get looking good at all. They always looked like trash. The leaves would curl up, so I would give it some water, and then yeah, it never looked good. So they're in the trash. So I don't have that one anymore. The only Scindapsus that I have, well, two of them, is the Exotica, and then I do have the Jade Satin, which I have on a modified plank. So I added some moss on the front of it. I used some wire as well as, or rope, I guess, little, oh, I can't think of the word right now. And then I just staple it on. So that's a little experiment plant right now, just the Jade Satin on the moss pole. How's your revolutionary plant system coming along? Good. I'm gonna. Okay. So it has reached. This is that little plank. Whoops. Hit my light up there. This is that little plank system that I have, and you can see there's some moss. I keep hitting my ceiling up there. There's a little canister of moss at the back, so I don't know if it's going to be enough moss to really make a difference or not. But this is my little plank system that I'm trialing out. So it's in its very rough stages. I literally have a little water bottle stapled to the back of the plank, and you can see it has finally reached the window. And I'm excited about this one. This is my other marble queen. Which one do I want next? Okay, so I've already been doing a live for like 45 minutes, and I've only got one plant done. I'm going to water these in a few minutes here as well. I'm going to set this one aside. This is the philodendron Jerry Horn. A very typical philodendron looking leaf right now. I'm just looking. Looked like a little bit of damage there, so I wouldn't be surprised if it had a thrip. Pardon me. Yeah, very average looking philodendron. But as it gets more mature leaves, larger leaves, and you do that by growing it on a moss pole, the leaves get really, really large. So no offense, but other than home decor, what's the purpose of benefit of indoor plants? For me, and no offense at all, it's a good hobby. So what I like to do, and just because my conditions aren't ideal, I love to like just gardening and that sort of thing as a hobby. So that's basically what it is for me. It's just a fun hobby. Yeah. And basically I want to try and grow plants as large as they would in their natural habitat. Just, trialing different methods, different routines, switching up light, humidity. I know houseplants need a very specific, well, I shouldn't say specific, but they need a slightly acidic soil and water. So just seeing how my plants adapt when I change a certain condition or a certain requirement, I guess. So I know a lot of people aren't into houseplants, or you might have different interests, but for me, it's just a nice hobby that I can do in my spare time. And now that I have YouTube, then I can make videos on this and just basically it started off as if I change one thing. And it's just like a little documentary, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for myself, just to see if I do this with a plant and I change that, then it does respond in a certain way. So that is why I collect houseplants. It's just a relaxing hobby for me, but I do have a lot of plants, so it can be quite time consuming. Might be getting rid of some of them. Just looking over the chat. Linda says she's never caught live. Hello from Brooklyn. Love your videos. Thank you so much. I have a question about your recent Monstera in a jar. What would happen if you were to trim the roots and keep it in the same jar? I have done pretty significant root pruning. I'm just going to take this out as I talk. I've done some pretty significant root pruning with other plants in the past, specifically like my jade plants. And whenever you prune the roots, expect some regression, I guess, with how fast the plant is growing. So if you have a plant, of a certain size and you chop off the root system, that plant has been relying on that size of roots to sustain growth. So I don't want to disturb the root system on my Monstera. It's already putting out a new leaf, like since I did that video. So it's relying on that root system to provide nutrients and all that, and water and all that kind of stuff. So if you cut off the roots, then you can expect, or I would expect, some sort of plant. Like it probably won't put out as fast of a leaf or as large, I'm guessing. So I don't want to disturb the roots on that plant right now. So it'll take a while for that plant to regenerate those roots in order to produce enough energy for new growth. So that's why I didn't do it with this one. I'm very comfortable with a jade plant, like the one I did upstairs recently. I think it's just starting to put out some new growth. So it did take a number of months before it started to produce some new leaves again. So that is why I didn't cut it off. Just looking for the best area on this one for the moss pole. So I like to look at the way the leaves are facing. So they're all kind of facing forward this way. So I'm going to assemble another moss pole and just put it at the back here. Holy smokes, we have 63 people in this chat. I'm going to grab another. I probably should have pre-assembled a few of these before I did the video, but again, if you're just joining right now, I'm using these thickly moss poles. They come in just like a plastic sheet, and I'm just folding them up. Thanks for all the questions and stuff today. I'm trying to keep a closer eye, just like I say in every live stream video, trying to keep a close eye on the chat, and there's some really good questions about these moss poles today. I haven't been growing them on moss poles for very long, so I'm still learning about moss poles and the benefits of it. I will be making a video soon on the Splendid. I'll be doing a chop and prop on that large one here fairly soon, just because it's almost reaching the top. Like the leaves don't really have any more room to grow. There's a new leaf coming in there as well. So it's time. So I'm going to grab my container of moss. I'm just going to move some of these plants around because I've got limited space. And yeah, just fluff up the moss like that. Whoops. Making a mess here. That might be a little bit too much in there, so I'm gonna kind of move it around. You'll like once you start adding moss into moss bowls, you'll find out how much that you need. So if you can't close it up, then obviously you've put in too much. And they assemble just by these little tabs at the back. So that's the nice thing about these moss bowls is they're a very quick setup for sure. And with the exception of me tossing moss out of this little container here, it's not that messy either. Oh, come on. This is the hardest part, is just putting these little tabs in, but quick and easy like that. Actually, I filled, that's okay. I'm gonna put some soil in the bottom of this one. So I like to leave the bottom free of moss. I'm gonna put some soil in this one, and I'm gonna place the plant, which way? This way. So again, I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of size it up, and then where's my little plant? Velcro. So something like that. I'm gonna put it all the way to the bottom. I'm gonna stuff the plant in there. And then, so roughly that spot. Okay, we're down to 60 people. That's okay. I'm just checking the all messages. Where do I, so I was just kind of scrolling through my chat here, and oh, I missed a bunch. I find it relaxing as a retired person. I wish I was retired. I could honestly just do plant chores and yeah, just outside gardening and stuff, and I would be completely happy. I would always find something to do. So I'm making sure that no leaves are strapped in. Something like that. So I kind of lost a little bit of the chat here. Why do I love them? Philodendrons, they don't go into hibernation. I guess if you grow them in natural sunlight, they may go a little bit dormant. Like pretty much every houseplant through the winter in my upstairs, like all of my ones in natural sunlight, they'll go in kind of like a slowed growth, almost like a dormant state, just because the sun isn't as strong. The days are shorter. But downstairs here, just because I have all my plants under grow lights, they grow year round, which is awesome. So that's the benefit of grow lights is you can grow plants, or they will continue to grow year round. So I will fertilize, water, all that kind of stuff in the winter. Yeah, philodendrons, although they're like thrip magnets, they're just beautiful. So they get large leaves like that splendid. I absolutely love it. So that's why I collect philodendrons. But basically how I started was with succulents, with this, I don't know if you can see it, but this large jade plant. This is what I started with, probably about, well, I guess it's probably about 16, maybe 17 years old now. Where do I buy my plants? I have a couple good stores locally here, but I have bought plants from North Shore Tropicals. Where else? This Spirit of Sanctity back here is from Parkfolia. It's a tissue culture company, I guess, from Edmonton, Alberta. But mainly everything I can find locally here with some pretty pretty good plant shops that get some nice rare plants in. Just fiddling with this. I should be fiddling with my pencil here. I'm thinking of cutting the top and starting over. I put a ring of fire on a moss pole as well. Now, so far, this thing needs water. It's been doing well. This one, it kind of grows in like a rosette pattern, so you don't really need to grow it on a moss pole, but I want to see, like, look at this newest leaf. It's starting to size up. Beautiful variegation, and the roots are definitely growing in the moss. So this is one that you really don't need to grow on a moss pole, but beautiful one. So you got it for free from Walmart. Throwing away. Oh, awesome. That's a good score. What do you think of the thickly moss poles so far? Someone just said that they recently purchased the thickly moss pole. Currently have a philodendron on a DIY. Will it be easy to change it to the thickly? I wouldn't say easy. Like if it already has roots in the DIY moss pole, you might have to just cut away depending on what it is, if it's the plastic or if it's the chicken wire. I would just cut it away. Unfold it, and then you could just soak the moss basically and just take the roots out. Depending on how long the roots are, you can do a little bit of a root prune as well and just stick the plant in the moss bowl. I wouldn't say easy, but you could definitely do it for sure. It's the chicken wire. Yeah, just cut it away. Soak the moss, see if you can remove as much moss as you can, and then depending on, because there's two types of thickly moss poles. There's just the holes in the front, and then you assemble it in the back. They actually have another version where it's solid on the back, but there's like little straps on the front, so that one would be a good fit for you as well. I like these ones. It's just a little bit easier to assemble, I guess. But yeah, if you want a plant strapped in, you can avoid these Velcro little straps. But so that's an option. They have two different varieties, which is nice. John says he's been using the generic D-shaped moss poles and love them. Yeah, they're awesome. I used to hate moss, and I was against every moss pole until I started using these, and then yeah. It's been a game changer for sure. Whoa, dropping stuff. So I'm just going to add a little bit of soil into the bottom of the pot. I've been on the live stream here for almost an hour, and I've got 2 plants done. Not good. Sometimes my little chat thing here freezes up a little bit, so I gotta make sure I keep up with it. I do have a philodendron majestic as well. David's asking. I actually won that plant as part of an Instagram contest quite a while ago. I'll show it here in a second. I can't remember the channel right now. She has an Instagram page out of Winnipeg. Beautiful, beautiful plants. And she had some plant cuttings, I guess, and I won it. I've actually won 2 Instagram contests, which is crazy. I always thought, not that they were like a scam. Oh, my soil fell out of the bottom. I just didn't know if they were real or not, because you never know of any winners. But I've won 2 Instagram contests in the past. So one of them is the majestic. Okay, that's settled right there. Lisa Adams says, I've been with you from the beginning of your channel. I'm still learning from you. I am learning all the time as well. And thank you from Chattanooga. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate the support. I can't believe that my channel has grown like this. Like I said, I never intended to make videos, like to make money off of YouTube or anything like that. But I kind of wanted to make videos just for myself, just to kind of look back at the plants that I had. And it's just people started watching, and then people started asking questions, and I'm constantly researching plants, like how to grow them better. And one thing that really kind of changed my perspective of things that you do can alter how a plant grows is I had a little lemon tree, and I don't know if I've said this on a live before and maybe some of my videos, but every time that it would start to flower, it would like lose all its flowers, all the buds would just fall off. And I was constantly going through like a leaf growing stage, and then it would drop all its leaves, and then it would start to leaf out again. I was like, oh, it's, you know, it's finally looking good. I thought it was pests and everything like that. But what I chalked it up to was that citrus plants are this like little lemon tree, and I think you can kind of adapt it to any sort of citrus tree, but they need a very acidic soil. So I started testing my water, and it turns out that my water was super alkaline. Here, it's a pH of like 8. So that basically locks out the nutrients to the roots. So if you don't have a proper pH in your soil or your water, then the plant just can't use the nutrients. So it would start to leaf out, and then it would drop all its leaves. So what I didn't want to get into like the chemicals and like the powders. I think you can use like a sulfur powder, I think it is, to lower your pH. But what I started doing is just researching how to quickly drop the pH of your water and soil. And what I read is you can use cold coffee. So coffee grounds, I know that's a very popular thing to do, but they've already been leached out of their benefits, I guess. So everything's been drained away. So it doesn't really add any benefit from what I've read to your soil. But whoops. So what I started doing is we just have like a regular coffee maker, and we'd always have like a little bit extra at the bottom. So I started putting that in a watering can, diluted with water. So it was like maybe like a third of coffee, or maybe even just a quarter of coffee. And I would mix it up with water, and I started watering that. It didn't mold or anything like that, but it started to keep its leaves. And in the end, I ended up getting 3 lemons off of it. So I sliced them up, and they were some of the juiciest lemons I've ever had. So that was one of my first videos that I had on YouTube. I think I made it unavailable right now, but yeah, I still have that video, and it's still one of those like proud moments. Like I actually got a little citrus tree indoors in Canada to produce some fruit, which was pretty spectacular. I think I'm still proud of that one. Okay, so here is the Jerry horn on its moss pole. Like I said, afterwards, I'm gonna go water these. Now I'm gonna move on to another one. I think I'll probably only get to this one, the Burl Marks variegated. And then I know some people that follow this channel like to see my Cebu Blue. I had a Cebu Blue on a plank, and some of the leaves were like massive. And yeah, long story short, it didn't survive because I didn't air layer the roots properly when I did the chop and prop. So this is a cutting off of that. So it's basically a restart. And yeah, so this one I recently got from North Shore Tropicals. Oh yeah, the Majestic. It's right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is my Majestic, and it's on the moss pole. This one, the leaves, they were fairly small for a long time, and it's finally starting to size up. So this one has taken its time, whereas the Splendid here, this one sized up really, really fast. This is one plant that I did have on a wood plank for a while, actually quite a while, and it never grew any roots on the plank. So took it off the plank, and I put it on a moss pole, and now it's finally starting to size up. But it is a fairly slow growing philodendron, in my experience at least. And let's see here. Let's go back to some of these messages here. Coffee in the grounds is what I use now for lots of things, and lemons. Yep. Cold coffee diluted is very acidic, and that's what the plant wanted. Was it wanted a coffee. And I think I don't know if I made that video or not. I can't remember if I made an update video on that lemon tree, but just coffee, no cream or sugar. Okay, so this burrow marks, it's quite a crazy growing plant if you've ever had one. It basically just sprouts out new growth points from everywhere. I do have just the regular green variety on a moss pole. I'll see if I can find it here, but I'll make another moss pole here quick, and then I'll get to that Cebu blue. It actually just needs an extension piece. So let's see what time it is. Holy smokes, we're up to 70 people. So thanks everyone for joining the live stream today. If you were here yesterday, it was quite disastrous, but I'm glad it's up and going today. I have no idea what was wrong, because I set it up exactly the same way. It's super easy. You just plug in a cord in my camera here, and it should work. But I didn't have like any display or anything like that, so I wasted like 2 hours yesterday trying to figure it out. But okay, roots on this guy look good. I'm just using another terracotta pot. Like I said, probably should have had a few of these kind of pre-assembled. Yeah, thanks to everyone joining the live stream today, and thanks to everyone that supports my channel. Like I said, I can't believe that I'm now coming up on like 90,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Looks like it's frozen again. What is everybody doing this weekend? This weekend is May long weekend. It's a long weekend here in Canada. Anybody have any big plans? Most people like on May long weekend like to get out and start their like outdoor gardens. I could imagine you being a school teacher. It's funny. A lot of like that's probably one of my top comments or repeat comments is people calling me or suspecting me to be a teacher because I always have a pencil in my videos and stuff. I'm not a teacher, but thank you. I take that as a compliment. I'm not a public speaker, so I can do it comfortably in my basement here, but I don't like speaking in front of like large crowds or anything like that. Took me a while to get used to filming myself as well. Basically, I'm just talking to myself in a camera, it was a little weird at first, but I absolutely love making videos for YouTube. I love doing these live streams because I get to interact with you folks. And like I said at the start of the video, one of my favorite things is knowing where you guys are watching my videos from. I think it's absolutely crazy that people watch from around the world. So I thank you for that. I really appreciate all the support. And always, if you ever have any video ideas of things that you want to see, just drop it in the comments. I read most of my comments. I should say like 99% of the comments. So I try and respond to the comments, but sometimes it just gets to be a little bit much. So I think thank you for all the comments. Yeah, I really appreciate it. How high can our burrow marks climb since they're self-heading? I'm not too sure. I don't know, to be honest. I just recently put the regular green variety on, and it just grows like crazy. It's nice to have Canadian content. Yeah, there's some really good content creators. Some of my favorites are Gardening in Canada. She's up in Saskatoon. That's a good channel if you have like outdoor gardening questions. She's big into that kind of stuff. Kill This Plant. That's another fantastic channel I like watching. I'm just trying to think of other Canadian content creators. One of my favorite channels is Tech Plant. We have a friendly competition going right now, so I'm just sizing this one up. It's a little bit more root system, so something like that. What is your guys' favorite channels right now, like aside from this one, but what do you guys typically watch? Is it just plant content or other types of videos that aren't plant related? I used to watch a ton of like different creators, but I only really watch a few now. I've seen the bromarks in ground grow more like a shrub. I can definitely see that. These things are just crazy. They have a weird growth pattern for sure. Going out to lunch with my family, then going out to watch my oldest niece perform on chains. And oh, weird. An aerial act? Is she a gymnast? Someone earlier, now that I'm just looking at this, someone earlier asked if there was any mold concerns on the moss pole. I really haven't had any mold, but I'm just trying to think. Do any of mine have algae? There might be some like, oops, I just broke a root. Just broke a big root. You can definitely get algae on it. So I broke a root. This big chunk here just broke, so I'm going to cut this off. Not a big deal. What size thickly moss pole? This is the medium, and I think this is the 2.0. The other moss pole, the one that I was explaining earlier, that has the kind of like strapping on the front, I believe that is the 3.0. So this is the medium, and it's the 2.0, which I like. I prefer this one. Just going to use some of this old soil, just stuff it in the bottom. I watch a lot of aquarium and videos as well. Kill This Plants, one of my favorite. Plants with Crystal, that's another good one. She's hilarious. Jungle Haven, that's she's putting out a ton of really good content right now. I try and watch the odd video here or there. What am I doing? I need to strap this down. That's what I wanted. There's such good content out there. One of my like non-plant favorite channels is, I don't know if you guys know of Cletus McFarlane. It's like a racing channel. I love it. I think he's absolutely hilarious, and he puts out a ton of good content. Someone just said, I notice men are a lot more rough in handling their plants when they turn out fine. Yeah, just stuff it in the pot, pack it down. Plants, they're resilient. There's a channel, I can't remember, it's maybe Logies. We don't have that in Canada, or at least where I am. But if you go watch some of his videos, the dude is just crazy. Well, I shouldn't say crazy, but it's awesome videos, but he just like throws a plant in, like scoops in dirt into the pot like really fast, and then packs it down, and then just like throws the plant over. I find it hilarious how he pots up the plants for, I think it's Logi's YouTube video. I think it's hilarious. Wild Fern, yeah, that's another good channel. She's got some great plants. She's in BC. tech plant, wild fern, bestie plants. I started watching you because you were the only one I could find who grows tropical plants near Wisconsin or close to my climate. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge at times. Like I said, here where I am in Saskatchewan, in the middle of the Canadian prairies, our summers are extremely hot and dry, and in the winters, it's even drier, but extremely cold. Thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. So I would think that Wisconsin would get a fairly similar climate to us. So yeah, whoops, this is a little crooked. So I definitely appreciate the support. I always get comments on these shirts. So this is the Monstera shirt. It's awesome. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And then I have another one of their shirts as well. It's from Tropics Narcotics. I think they're somewhere in Europe. I can't remember where specifically, but they got a lot of cool stuff. Kathy says, my fave ever is Midwest Magic Cleaning. He gives good advice too. There's some channels out there that they put out super good content. There's one, like occasionally, if I'm just looking to waste some time, there's like Miami boat ramps, or like there's a couple other channels. Like I have no interest in boats, but I tend to get hooked into people loading boats, and I think it's hilarious. So just the type of drama that can go with loading up boats. So I don't own a boat. I have no interest in boats, but for some reason I get hooked into watching boats on YouTube. I use a lot of pebble trays because Alberta humidity sucks too. So I do have a larger humidifier downstairs here, but I haven't been able, or I don't have to run it right now because it's at 56% downstairs here. So I like to keep it around that 50, 55. I don't want to go anything higher than 60%, but I also use a little oscillating fan just to help with circulation. So, okay. The last plant I'm going to do is the Cebu Blue, and that's just an extension. And the reason why I wanted to include this, yes, the shirt is from Tropics Narcotics, a wonderful company. It's just a small personal business, I think, and then they make t-shirts. Okay, so here is my Cebu Blue. So I did chop the stem here as well. So this is what the original leaf looked like. This was the size of the cutting that I got. And I cut right here just because it wasn't growing like I wanted it to. It put out a new little side shoot. So the leaves were tiny, but as you can see with each new leaf, it's starting to size up. So I'm so happy that it is starting to size up. And you can see right here, the stem got a little wonky. So it kind of, it almost looks like a little bit of an S curve to it. So until it feels secure and latches on, then you might have a little bit of variance, I guess. And I've been using those little wood dowels just to place along the side, which I'll have to do again with this one. It just keeps it in place, like in the middle of the pole, because sometimes they have a tendency to veer off to the side. So yeah, someone says, well, with wood built houses, we have to watch for mold. Absolutely. So I don't let my plants get my humidity get too high here. I do have like an air exchange system in my house as well. It's a separate unit that basically filters fresh air. So it constantly recirculates air in the house. So yeah, I have that running for most of the time. If the humidity gets really low, then I will shut that off for a little while and run the humidifiers just to kind of get back to that 50%. So you don't want, like, regardless of houseplants, you don't want well, I should say, regardless if you have houseplants or not. So if you don't have houseplants, it's not healthy for your humidity to be really, really low as well. It's just that dry air. So you can add a humidifier, but it even says right on the hygrometer here, anywhere from like 30 to 60 is the comfort zone. That's what it's calling it. So anything too high or too dry, it'll list it there. So got it off Amazon. But you can buy these like these little hygrometer things from like Home Depot and stuff. Carolina says, I bought a jade plant. It has 4 plants in the same pot. Can I separate? Absolutely. You can let them grow into more like a bush style, or you can separate them and you can grow them into individual like tree-like plants is what I like to do. So, okay. Oh, this one is on the little strap. So this is the strap style plank or pole, I guess. So you can see there is no tabs on the back. So it's one solid piece, but on the front, it has these tabs that you can strap in the stem. But for this, like it really didn't work for me. So I don't know if you're actually supposed to strap them in or if it's just a way that you can detach it and remove the plant from the moss easily from the front, as opposed to taking it apart at the back and then having to pull all the roots and moss through the front. So I don't know if you're actually supposed to strap the plant in or if it's just an easy way for you to extract the moss and the plant, if that makes sense. But the roots, beautiful, beautiful roots on this one. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a moss pole and then I'm going to add the extension piece on top. So I don't need my soil anymore. Just going to put all these cups. I keep these little plastic cups too for new plants. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I missed any questions here. So looks like there's a wide variety of channels, YouTube channels that you guys watch. Okay, now when you're adding an extension piece, they have those little tabs at the bottom that you can place inwards or outwards as an anchor. So here's that piece, that little tab. On the top of this moss pole, there's just a small little tab. These actually click into each other. So that's another way to tell which is the top and the bottom. There's a small tab at the top and there's the larger ones at the bottom. When you place the plank, I put it inside the original one or the base one, then they will snap together so that it's more secure. How do you water your moss poles? I take them over to my shower. I have a basement bathroom over here and I do have a garden hose and I spray them down. So I like to spray off the leaves so that they are clean of any dust. And it even helps with pest management. So if you have spider mites or thrips, then I like to blast those guys off as well. And what I do is I will water from the top of the pole, let it trickle down into the pot, making sure that the moss and the soil is saturated. And then I will let them basically get almost completely dry. But I know some people, like I explained earlier in the video or in this live stream, that a lot of people will use like water bottles and they'll just tip them upside down just in the top of the plank. I don't have time for filling up like a dozen bottles and then placing them on the tops of plants. This method of just taking them over to the shower, and I have a garden hose downstairs here, which is very, very useful. It's very handy. And so that's how I water them. I also have like a 4-liter spray bottle. So I'll mix in my fertilizer and water in that. So I will spray the plant down, I'll water the moss, make sure that the soil is wet. And then afterwards, I spray the moss with the fertilizer water mixture, and then just let that kind of drain down into the pot as well. And then place it back in its spot. So that method works for me. But like I said, I know a lot of people use those water bottles and fill those up. So for this moss pole, like when you're adding an extension piece, I like to leave out moss, like again at the bottom. So when you place it on the new moss pole, it basically slides down until it locks into place, and then you will have the moss from this pole at the top. So if that makes sense. Does your family like plants also? Kathy asked that question. They do, maybe not this many plants. Like when I first started collecting plants, I was told frequently that I have way too many plants. But now that this YouTube channel has, I don't want to say taken off, but it's a big part of this hobby. I haven't heard too many complaints about houseplants. Yeah, I do have some plants upstairs here, like up in my living room and stuff, but I definitely have thinned them out just so that it's not like an absolute jungle. This is my little kind of workshop area downstairs here. So I have my plant table, and then I have all my plants up along the wall here and stuff. So yeah, I think they've grown to like them or tolerate them, I guess. But definitely not along the same lines as what I do, or as I like them. Do the kids get involved? Yeah, they have their own couple plants. Like my daughter, she has one that she keeps in her room, and she's in charge of watering that and all that kind of stuff. So how often do you fertilize your poles? I use, like I said, a diluted amount in my water. So basically, like it's tough to keep track of every single plant that I fertilize. So I use basically a smaller dosing, and I pretty much water every watering. There is, or has been sometimes, like recently, I will just use my garden hose just to like really flush out any salts or that sort of thing. So I won't fertilize like for a couple weeks, and I'll just go through all my plants, making sure that they get thoroughly flushed out. And yeah, because over time, if you fertilize, or depending on the type of water that you use, there can be some salt buildup in your plants. So I just like to soak them as best as I can, and then let it kind of flow out the bottom. And maybe I'll fertilize in like a few weeks kind of thing. Kathy, thank you for the donation. Wow, I appreciate that. This big yellow bar popped up on my feed here. So it says, "You are amazing." Thank you. I really appreciate that, Kathy. Which plant has performed the best on a plank for you? Hands down, the pothos. I'll see if I can grab one, or any sort of epipremnum. So like I have the Baltic blue and the yellow flame, which I'm transitioning from a plank to a moss bowl. But pothos plants, they get super thick, chunky aerial roots on the plank. It's actually super satisfying just to see the little caterpillar feet, as well as the big, thick, chunky aerial roots. There was a little period where I had basically this whole wall with planks, but I just couldn't continuously upsize into larger pots. So I would lose the lower leaves, and then I would just have like a few leaves on top. So I tried to air layer it so I could take chop and prop the top, so I could take the top, put it in a new pot, and basically my whole like pothos plank system type thing kind of got neglected, as well as it basically just demolished them. Threw a few out. So I've been trialing different types of planks as well as these moss poles. My wish list is a garden hose in my home. I bought one of those, it's almost like a slinky garden hose. So when you turn it off, it actually coils itself up. And then when you turn the water on, it basically expands, and it's pretty crazy. So my bathroom is directly across from my laundry room. I hooked up a little water filter to one of the water taps. And anytime I need to bring or to water some plants, I bring them to my bathroom, and then I bring the garden hose. Comes across my hallway there. If it makes money. Kathy says if it makes money, it's okay. Yeah, my YouTube channel does make some money, which is crazy. I never thought I would make like $1 off of making videos, which is absolutely crazy. And that's, I can only thank you guys for watching all my videos. Thank you for your videos. You helped me save an alocasia that I got from the supermarket. I haven't perlite. Survives. Yeah. I do have an alocasia video coming out this weekend. I think I have it scheduled for Sunday. So it's one of those videos where I say, don't buy this plant. So I do have some really nice alocasias, but I do have some that are struggling hard right now. And for me, it basically comes down to, I don't have the consistency in regards to the routine for those plants. So they need a very consistent watering routine. They need to be consistently warm, and otherwise they drop leaves. And those plants, if they don't get the right conditions, they do go dormant. Any thoughts on Fox Farm soil? It's fantastic. I do have a bag downstairs here that I use for some plants as well. I'll mix it in with different types of soils. Super good. Like, it's a very good quality soil. There was one shop here in my city that did carry it, but apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently you can't get Fox Farm soil in Canada anymore, which is a shame because it's a great product for sure. What type of moss do you use? I don't even know. Just going over here to get my moss bag. So this I pick up from one of my local plant shops. It comes in a big cube. And this one is Will Grow Sphagnum Moss. So this bag cost me $34.99. And before today's video, I removed maybe like a quarter of the moss for other projects. And I filled this entire Tupperware bin, and I still have half a bag. So it'll probably, I'm guessing, this bag will probably do maybe 10, 15 moss poles, I would think. Actually, don't even know, but just by estimating. So I've done 4. How many poles have I done? 4. And I've only used like half of the container here. So that's the type that I use. There's another reason why I didn't like using moss until obviously you see the results from the plants. I try and reuse as much moss as I can. I don't like to throw it out because they basically destroy moss bogs to harvest for this. So that I don't particularly like, but the plants do really well on the moss. So I try and reuse as much as I can from, like, if I buy a plant and it comes in moss and I remove the moss, like Hoyas, they'll always come in moss. I'll stuff it back in the bin here and reuse it. I saw a Thai constellation at the garden center for 175. I passed. They were good specimens. For mature ones, like I don't know if you can see it on video here or not. I have a larger one back here. I think I paid like 150, 140, something like that. But again, that was a few months ago, but they're steadily coming down in price, which is nice to see. So beautiful, beautiful plants. Circular moss poles. Have you ever tried using one super jumbo circular moss pole and then having many species climb up on it? Nope, never done that before. Earlier in the video, I did mention that those circular ones, they don't do well in my conditions, just because it dries out way too fast here. So if you live in like a humid region, that would definitely work. That would actually be a super cool project, just to put different types of plants on one moss pole. I've been having a lot of luck with a mix of Fox Farm and their Coco Loco together. I have a Monstera and a Pothos in the same system. Looks all right. Okay. I have moss. I have stuff everywhere. Soil, moss, everything on the floor. Okay, so for this, I'm going to see if I can get it the best angle. So I like to place this moss pole inside this one, just because when you water it, you want the water to be contained in the moss pole. So what I like to do is I like to kind of sandwich it. So I fold it up a little bit like that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but just so that the side pieces go inside. And then all you do is just place or push it down until you kind of hear like a little snap or click. Okay. Can be a little tricky just because I have some moss already in here. The front is folding up. Okay. That's probably all I'm going to do. I think it clicked. It's not, it's a little pushed in on the front here. Okay, I'm either hung up on something or I'm clicked in, but I'm just going to leave it. I think we're okay. So that is how it looks with the extension piece. Now I'm going to go get one of those wood dowels because this is growing off to the side. So it wants to grow off to the side here. I'll show you another plant that has done that for me, but I'm going to go get a little wood dowel. I bought these little wood dowels from Canadian Tire, and it just helps me keep this plant growing in the middle. So I just place it in the little holes. That one I can't. I don't know if you can see it or not, but let's see if I can get it in shot here. So I just place it in the moss like that, and it just acts as a little directional support. So yeah, it's stable. It's not going anywhere. So now my Cebu Blue can grow up into this extension piece, and then eventually I can, once it grows up here, it'll have a root system to sustain when I make the cut. So you can cut the plant and then take the top off and put it in its own pot. And then that's how you get larger leaves as it just continues to grow and grow. I'm going to bring this plant over. Pardon me. This is my Philodendron Tahiti, which it kind of got away from me. This thing is, okay, well, I'm going to move this plant here. I'm going to put this one back. I should say as well, you should have a nice heavy pot for if you have like a couple extension pieces, because they can get a little tipsy. Okay, here is my crazy looking Philodendron Tahiti. I absolutely love this one. Oops, it moved my chat. So yeah, you can't even see me, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but this big thick part of the stem has grown off to the side. So you can see, come on. I'm trying to get a good view for you guys. Which leaf is in the way? So you can see the stem has grown off to the side. This thing is thick. That's a big stem. So I just put a little wood support in there just to coax it back to growing more in the middle of the pot. Check out these roots. Insane. This thing is a beast. That's crazy. So this is one of my favorites. I love this leaf. Just like a palm. And then for whatever reason, this one's just growing off, doing its own thing. And I'll show a couple others as well here in a second. That is pretty much all the plants I'm going to do today. I'm just going to kind of show you a couple other plants and just catch up on the live stream here as well. I've successfully transitioned all my house plants to pure pumice and self-watering pots. I'm assuming it's very similar to just like pon as well. So I've done that for a few anthuriums and alocasias. I'm trying pon. Suggesting I use toothpicks for smaller plants. Thanks, it works. I love the looks of that plant. Lisa says, yeah, that's Philodendron Tahiti. What's the other one that's looks very similar? Mayoi. I've seen things like online of people saying that they're the same plant, but I've seen other people say that they're different as well. Do I have any carnivorous plants? I do. I did do, I think it was a live stream that I had. I made like a little bog bowl, and one comment in particular says that you shouldn't have it in terracotta because terracotta will hold on to minerals, like salts specifically. And so I've been keeping an eye on that. I should make a video down the road, but when you have carnivorous plants, I grow them just in straight sphagnum moss and then a base layer of sand. You should only be watering with rainwater or distilled water. So there shouldn't really be like any salt, like mineral buildup. So I'll have to just keep an eye on them and see if I need to switch pots. So all of the plants that I showed today have been climbing philodendrons. There are crawling philodendrons as well. I do have a few varieties, but I'm really not liking them, with the exception of maybe like one or two, just because you do need a lot of space for these plants because obviously they crawl along the soil. So it takes up a lot of space. One that I absolutely love is my Philodendron Summer Glory. This is a beautiful, beautiful leaf. And I can't remember which one this is a combination of. Might be the Gloriosum as well as the, what is it called? The Macaulay's Finale or something like that. Zero water filter is good as well to get the ppm down to 0. See, I don't even know what ppm is. Parts per million. I'm guessing that is what it is. I think Harley G has a bog bowl too for her carnivorous plants. I love them. They're awesome. So that is my Summer Glory. And then I don't know what I dropped there, but something fell. And here's another one. Let's see if I can get it. Ooh, it's getting a new leaf. I think I showed this in my last live too. This is the, I can't remember what it's called. Mame, I think this is. Mame Silver. A little bit of leaf damage. These ones are prone to spider mites as well. Here's one of the, oh, there it is. Let's see if I can get it. I want to squish it, but there is a thrip. Where are you? Don't fall. This little guy right there. There's a little black dot. That's a thrip. I'm going to squish it. Dead. Okay, so I did see some damage on this one. So there's these little spots on it. get it on the back side. I don't know if you can see it or not, but anyways, this is a beautiful one. It's getting a new leaf. And the very comical thing about this is it's in a absolutely tiny pot. So this one I've been wanting to repot for a while, but it is, yeah, I need to find some time for that. So new leaf emerging, but this is a beautiful variety. I love the little ruffled petiole up there too. And they're flat. So beautiful plant. This one, it was not doing good for a long time. I even thought about just tossing it out, but I just left it alone, and all of a sudden it just like started to size up. I have a black ZZ. Do you have a way to clean the spots off the leaves? You're going to get spots on the leaves just from minerals in the water. So try rinsing it off with, like you can use a spray bottle or something with just distilled water or even rainwater. So obviously your water has lots of minerals in it. So I'm coming up on almost 2 hours. Holy smokes for this live stream. I think I'm going to end it because I have a lot of other things to do as well today. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys joining in. And we've pretty much had like 60 people consistently through this live stream. I absolutely love doing these live videos, and I will be doing some more here hopefully soon. Go check out my alocasia video this weekend. I hope you guys enjoy that one as well. So thanks for tuning in to this live stream today. And for those that tuned in yesterday, I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but it actually worked out better today. So thanks. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And again, I always appreciate the support for watching my videos and commenting and all that kind of stuff. I have seen some YouTubers use equal amounts of lemon juice and water. Oh, yeah, interesting. That is a good way to clean off the leaves, but it can be a little bit tedious getting to each one. So I just like to spray off. So that is another reason why I like reading comments in my videos and stuff, is because people like Lisa provide answers and good information as well. So we all kind of learn together as we go along. So there's obviously things that I learned from you guys as well. So I appreciate every single comment that you guys send me or leave in my videos and live streams. So, all right, that is going to be it for today. Stay tuned for the next live stream. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Take care, everyone. Bye.